I was the photographer at a perfect wedding, but my camera captured something terrible. I showed the bride one secret photo I took. What she did, at the altar, made everyone gasp. Part 2, Victoria's smile appeared instantly. Bright, and beautiful, and completely hollow, I captured it. But something about the falseness of it made me uncomfortable. "Let's get some shots of you with your father," I suggested, knowing that father-daughter moments were often the most emotional part of the morning. Charles Reed was a man who commanded attention the moment he entered a room, tall, silver-haired, with the kind of presence that suggested he was used to being the most important person wherever he went. He was dressed in an impeccable morning coat, and carried himself with the bearing of someone who had never been told no. "My beautiful daughter," he said as he entered the bridal suite. But there was something possessive in his tone that made me look up from my camera. "Hello, father," Victoria said. And I noticed that her entire body tensed when he approached. "Are you ready for your big day?" He asked, placing his hands on her shoulders in what should have been a tender gesture. But I saw through my lens how his fingers pressed into her skin, how she flinched almost imperceptibly at his touch. "Yes, father, everything is exactly as you planned." "As we planned," he corrected, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. "This is your day, Victoria. The day you become Mrs. Peter Russell, and take your place in society." I took several shots of them together, but something about the dynamic felt wrong. This wasn't a proud father celebrating his daughter's happiness. This was a man ensuring his investment was paying off. "I should go check on the groom's preparations," I said, needing to get away from the strange tension in the room. The groom's suite was a stark contrast to the bridal preparations. Peter and his groomsmen were relaxed, joking around, treating the morning like any other social gathering. Peter himself seemed completely at ease, adjusting his tie and chatting about golf plans for the following weekend. "Nervous?" I asked as I photographed him getting ready. "Not at all," he said with a confident smile. "Victoria and I have known each other since childhood. This has always been the plan. Our families have been friends for generations. It makes sense for us to marry. We understand each other's world, our values align, our families approve. It's really quite perfect." He talked about how his wedding the way someone might discuss a business merger, which I suppose in many ways it was. It was while photographing the groomsmen that I met Logan Russell, Peter's younger brother. Where Peter was conventionally handsome and confident, Logan was more understated, thoughtful eyes, an easy smile, and a warmth that his older brother seemed to lack. "You must be the photographer," Logan said, approaching me while the others were distracted. "I'm Logan, the spare heir, Ross Bailey. Nice to meet you. I have to ask, have you met Victoria yet?" "I have, she seems lovely." Logan was quiet for a moment, studying my face. "She is lovely, she's also the kindest, most intelligent woman I've ever known. I just hope." "What?" "Nothing, forget I said anything, it's not my place." But the concern in his voice stayed with me as I moved between the bridal and groom's preparations, capturing the traditional getting ready shots, while trying to shake the feeling that something was fundamentally mentally wrong with this picture perfect wedding. It was during the family photos before the ceremony that I captured the image that would change everything. The formal family portraits were exactly what you'd expect, stiff-posed shots of two prominent families coming together. Charles Reed stood with military posture, his wife beside him, looking elegant, but cold. The Russell family was equally formal. Everyone positioned precisely according to social hierarchy and family importance. But it was during a break between poses that I saw it. A moment of genuine human connection. In the midst of all the artifice, Logan had approached Victoria, who was standing slightly apart from the group, looking overwhelmed by the formal proceedings. He said something to her. I was too far away to hear what, and suddenly her entire face transformed. She laughed. A real laugh that lit up her eyes, and made her look like a completely different person. For just a moment, the mask slipped, and I saw who Victoria really was underneath all the expectations and obligations. I raised my camera instinctively, and captured the moment. Victoria mid-laugh, her hand on Logan's arm, both of them looking at each other with an intimacy and warmth that I hadn't seen between her and Peter all day. It was just a split second, and then Charles Reed's voice cut through the moment like a knife. "Victoria, we're ready for the next shot." The light in her eyes died instantly, the mask slipped back into place. She stepped away from Logan, and returned to her position in the family formation. But I had seen the truth, I had captured it. As the ceremony time approached, I found myself in an impossible position. I had a job to do, document this wedding, capture the moments that would become the official record of this union. But I also had evidence that the bride was desperately unhappy, that she was being forced into a marriage she didn't want. The guests began taking their seats in the garden, where the ceremony would take place. It was a breathtaking setting. Hundreds of white chairs arranged in perfect rows, an altar decorated with thousands of white flowers, a string quartet playing classical music. Everything was flawless, elegant, expensive. I positioned myself to capture the processional, checking my equipment one final time. In 30 minutes, Victoria Reed would walk down that aisle and become Mrs. Peter Russell. and I would document every moment of it. But I couldn't stop thinking about that photograph, the one moment of genuine happiness I'd captured all day. The moment when Victoria had been herself, not the role she was expected to play. I made a decision that went against every professional instinct I had. I found Victoria in the bridal suite alone. For the first time all day, her bridesmaids had gone to take their positions for the processional, and she was standing in front of a full-length mirror, staring at her reflection with a profound sadness. "Victoria," I said quietly, not wanting to startle her. She turned and for a moment I saw panic in her eyes. "Is it time? Are they ready for me?" "Not yet, you have a few more minutes." I paused, knowing that what I was about to do could end my career. "I wanted to show you something." I pulled up the image on my camera's LCD screen, the photo of her laughing with Logan. Her breath caught when she saw it. "Why are you showing me this?" she whispered. "Because in all the photos I've taken today, hundreds of them, this is the only one where you look truly happy." Tears began forming in her eyes. "You don't understand, this wedding, it's not about me being happy, it's not about what I want, it's about family obligations, business relationships, expectations that have been in place since I was a child." "But what do you want, Victoria? Not your father, not society, not family expectations, what do you want?" She stared at the photo for a long moment, and I watched as something shifted in her expression. It was subtle, but I recognized it. It was the same look I'd captured in the photograph, the moment when her true self had emerged. "I want to feel like this," she said, touching the camera screen. "I want to laugh like this, to be myself without apology, to choose my own path." "Then why don't you?" "Because I can't. Because this is bigger than me, because disappointing my father, breaking this engagement, walking away from everything that's been planned, it would destroy everything. Or it would save you." She looked at me with surprise as if the thought had never occurred to her. "Victoria," I said gently. "I've photographed over 300 weddings, I've seen real love, and I've seen marriages of convenience. I've seen brides who were nervous, excited, scared, overwhelmed, but I've never seen a bride who looked like she was walking to her own execution." "That's what it feels like," she whispered. "Then don't do it." I can't just not show up. There are 300 guests out there, the ceremony is about to start. So, show up, walk down that aisle. But when the minister asks if you take Peter to be your husband, tell the truth."